What's up? My name is Eric Butler. This channel is called Report and Opine. I am back, and this is a video from the ABC7 News Bay Area Instagram account. So presumably, this was on television and they thought, this is really good. We need to spread it further through our social media network. It says, San Francisco Pride is distancing itself from Twisted Sister's Dee Snider after the singer defended anti-trans tweets by former Kiss singer Paul Stanley. Pride has been set to announce Twisted Sister's song We're Not Gonna Take It as the official anthem of Pride 2023. SF Pride Executive Director Suzanne Ford, who I can assume that's not her real or original name, but not really what this is about, joined Reggie Akey, who is a noted propagandist, and I made a complete video on him not that long ago. Go ahead and check that out. So they talk about this, and it's no secret the Bay Area media hacks are looking to play the victim once again. There's absolutely nothing in this segment that should make you believe this is even remotely close to real news. It's the maximum level of propaganda. So as businesses like Walgreens and Whole Foods and Nordstrom and Saks Fifth Avenue, the list goes on, they continue to leave the city citing crime and violence against employees. These people are worried about a reply to a tweet from a washed up rock star. And when you watch this, you will notice how they don't really address the original tweet. They don't really tell you what actually happened. They just say, oh, it's hateful or it's phobic or whatever. And you are supposed to just trust them on that, especially coming from this guy, Reggie Akey, who is a clear media hack shill propagandist. I mean, of the highest order. And he doesn't even try to hide it. You can look through his Instagram account and you'll see him, promoting his transgender t-shirt and all this AIDS medication. It's absolutely through the roof. So let's take a look at why San Francisco Pride is distancing itself from Twisted Sister's Dee Snider.
San Francisco Pride is distancing itself from Twisted Sister's Dee Snider after the singer defended anti-trans tweets made by former Kiss singer Paul.
After the singer defended anti-trans tweets. So right there, they have labeled this tweet anti-trans, and he didn't even make it. He just defended it, which maybe not even the case. He might have agreed with it, which isn't really the same as a defense, but I digress.
Paul Stanley. This is a bit confusing, but let me start with Stanley's tweet.
It's a bit confusing, but I'm going to explain it in this roundabout way to make sure that we get our propaganda agenda across to you.
Which was sent on Sunday, and in a nutshell, it criticizes parents who accept their children who are questioning their gender identities.
In a nutshell. So we're not really going to explain it, but it criticizes parents who allow the teachers to steamroll them and indoctrinate their children into this weirdo gender ideology lifestyle.
So here's what happened with Snider. Snider saw this tweet, retweeted it, and added this. You know what? There was a time where I felt pretty too. Glad my parents didn't jump to any rash conclusions. Well said, Paul Stanley.
Yeah, so that's a defense. I guess you can just say he's agreeing with it. I don't know if he's defending it against any sort of backlash. And this guy, Reggie Akey, is just through the roof, right? If you look at one of my old videos, he literally says, if you don't accept these, maybe not literally, I'm paraphrasing here. If you don't accept the weirdo agenda on your child, then you're just not a good person. He says that, and this is supposed to be news, literally calling people, his viewers, not good people if they don't agree with what he's spewing.
And here's where Pride comes into this conversation. Pride had been set to announce Twisted Sister's song We're Not Gonna Take It as the official anthem of Pride 2023. Joining us now with the latest on this saga is Suzanne Ford, the executive director.
Laughable. This is who they bring on. Can I make this bigger? This is who they bring on to convince you that this is a real problem. I can't get it any bigger, but you should be able to tell by now that this is obviously not really Suzanne.
Director of SF Pride. Hi, Suzanne.
Good morning, Reggie.
So,
how are you?
Full disclosure here, you were ready to roll out with Dee Snider interviews with the media. It was under embargo, but in a few days you were going to announce this partnership. with Dee
Yes.
Snider and with this song. So what was your reaction when you saw this tweet?
Look at this. This guy, I mean, complete cosplay, bro. Who are you fooling with this? This is only meant to confuse. I mean, anybody, any adult, anybody who's made it through, I don't know, 8th or ninth grade can look at this person and say, probably not. But it's meant to confuse young people and continue to indoctrinate this and push force. What's really strange is how they are ready, willing, and able to force their views on you. But any pushback will get a label, right? And we know this. It's not new. But any pushback will 100% get a label, and you're not allowed to push your views. I mean, heaven forbid, you can look at a guy like Bryson Gray, who I don't agree with on everything, but he's kicked off Spotify. He's kicked off, he has songs banned because he likes to read the Bible and follow the Bible. Apparently, look, I'm not an expert on Bryson Gray, but he is probably one of the most extreme people, according to the mainstream media, simply because he reads the Bible. And he's not allowed to push his views on you, but they are, of course, allowed and encouraged to push their views on you.
It made me sick. I mean, we were on the cusp of making this announcement. Dee Snider was going to appear on the main stage at SF Pride, and he was going to be in the parade as a celebrity grand marshal. And of course, we cannot stand by his statements.
And again, they didn't actually tell you what the original tweet was. They said, in a nutshell, it condemns parents who don't agree with the ideology that has been foisted on them, presumably by teachers.
Have to stand up and say that was wrong, and we had to end our association with him.
How did this begin? Did Dee Snider approach you and Pride and offer the song?
Really, bro? You think that Dee Snider, an old school rock star, showed up and emailed this handsome young lady and said, hey, do you want to use my song for Pride? Give me a break, bro. You know that's not the case. Quite obviously, they reached out to him and tried to get this and try to use the song. And they would have been fine with it had he not made one response to a tweet that they didn't like. That's how fragile all of this is. Just a response, not a tweet himself, right? A reply tweet that sort of agreed with something that they didn't like. And now they have, kind of cut off their nose to spite their face because the song they wanted to use and got the authorization to use, they don't want to do anymore because this guy has stepped out of line just a tiny bit. And I don't know too much about Dee Snider, but we do know that if you don't obey every single talking point, you're going to get the boot, right? You can obey 99.5 of the talking points, but if you don't get that last half a point, you're out.
Well, we'd been looking for a way to stand up to all this hate out in the country, the anti-trans legislation, the anti-queer legislation, and
all the hate in the country, all the legislation. Why would that be happening? Why would that legislation be happening? Is it because perhaps you're in a tiny minority and you are trying to foist your weirdo agenda onto everybody, and most rational, sane people are saying, nah, doesn't really make sense. But you want to play the card like you're the victim, and how dare they all come from us? And this wasn't even happening that long ago. It's been an onslaught. It's come on far too fast for my liking.
And we were looking for a slogan, and our PR team, I said, this is what we need to say. And they said, well, why don't we just say we're not going to take it? And that started the process. And we did reach out to their people. And
who looks at this though and says, yeah, I believe this woman? I mean, give me a break, bro.
Dee was great. He called me and said, hey, you can use this song. That's what this song should stand for. And then, of course, he preempted that with his statements supporting Paul Stanley.
Have you talked to Dee since this tweet came out?
I did. I had a painful discussion with him yesterday.
Cap.
I think he realizes that he was wrong.
Cap. This person, this carbon-based life form, is saying, oh yeah, I spoke with him. We had a deep conversation, and he realizes he's wrong. Give me a break, bro.
He thought he was taking a moderate stance.
Maybe he was. Maybe yours is the extreme stance. You ever think about that? Of course not.
When it comes to self-identification for trans people, there's no moderate stance. We need to believe our trans kids when they tell us about their gender.
Oh, okay. So let me get this straight. When a trans kid tells you that they're transgender, you just need to take that. I mean, you just need to hold that, wear that. You should just do whatever it is they say. Now, there's a laundry list of other things that they could say that you wouldn't believe, right? You wouldn't say, oh, you want to get the word Drake tattooed on your forehead? You want to go down to the pub and smash some beers when you're 15? You want to drive around drunk? You want to smoke pot all day? You probably, well, in California, they might let you smoke pot all day. But there's a number of things that you wouldn't do, right? And we constantly see this, that take the drag queen story hour, for instance. If a man dressed up as a woman is reading books to kids, it's okay. But if that very same man is just dressed up in jeans and a t-shirt, not okay. If a man dressed up as a woman reads books to kids, it's okay. But if a woman dressed up as a stripper in a library, not okay. So how is this happening, right? And if a kid says it, you should just believe them, right? How many kids have said, oh, I'm a Power Ranger. Oh, I'm a dinosaur. I'm a rhinoceros. You don't believe that, do you? Right? So how is this happening? And we see constantly that, when people are identifying as transracial, that they get laughed out the building. But somehow it's just completely different when we're talking about lopping your genitals off. That's a different story. That makes sense. Follow the science, bigot.
Did this end in an apology from Dee, and did that have any impact on you?
Yes, he was truly sorry at the end.
Cap.
I think it pointed out to me, like, there's so much work to be done to reach people in the middle of the country and the middle of this issue so that they have the facts. He was ignorant of the situation. And I was able to share with him what it might be like for an 8-year-old trans girl in Kentucky.
Cap, there is no such thing. An 8-year-old trans girl in Kentucky, give it a rest, bro. That's what you convinced Dee Snider of, and he apologized and realized the wrongs in his ways. All lies.
That was afraid to tell her parents or her schoolmates about who she really was. And I think that did touch him.
So now we move forward. How?
Well, we got to put it behind us. I mean, the harm in the situation is people thinking that was a moderate stance or that was okay. And then also, we were going to use this as a platform to stand up to hate and to raise money for San Francisco Pride this year. So we're going to have to find a new route, and we will. We always do at San Francisco Pride, but we need support. If people want to go to the site, sfpride.org, and donate and support.
And there you have it. We need another victim card so that we can ask for more money. And where does that money go? Drag queen story hours, chest binders, weirdo operations. Where does that money go, right? Does anybody in their right mind think for one split second it's a good idea to give this carbon-based life form your money because they don't like a tweet reply from an old washed-up rock star? Give me a break. What planet are we actually on?
Support us, but we are going to stand up to this hate in this country against trans people. Make no mistake.
And finally, did Dee indicate to you that he would be saying something publicly, not just to you in a private conversation, but on a social media platform or another media?
Yes, I expect that statement out at any time if he has not released it yet. Yes,
Yeah, did he capitulate? He said sorry on the phone, which was probably a lie. But did he say he was going to do it publicly? Did he kneel at the altar of the, alphabet mob? Yes, he's going to do it very soon. These people are completely delusional and despicable.
Promise to do that.
Yeah, okay. Look, ABC News has a clear problem with this guy. He has done nothing but push his agenda, that weirdo carbon-based life form that's pretending to be a woman at, clearly 50 plus years old is absolutely delusional. I don't know how we got here, but people really need to start standing up for this stuff. And like I said, they don't actually tell you what the tweet was. So let's take a look at that. So here's the original tweet from Paul Stanley and the reply from Dee Snider. There is a big difference between teaching acceptance and normalizing and even encouraging participation in a lifestyle that confuses young children into questioning their sexual identification as though some sort of game, and then parents in some cases allow it. There are individuals who as adults may decide reassignment is their needed choice, but turning this into a game or parents normalizing it as some sort of natural alternative or believing that because a little boy likes to play dress up in his sister's clothes or a girl in her brother's, we should lead them steps further down a path that's far from the innocence of what they are doing. Facts. with many children who have no real sense of sexuality or sexual experience caught up in the fun of using pronouns and saying what they identify as. Some adults mistakenly confuse teaching acceptance with normalizing and encouraging a situation that has been a struggle for those truly affected and have turned it into a sad, dangerous fad. So that actually sounds like complete facts to me, but they want to call it hateful and bigoted. And here's Dee Snider's reply. You know what? There was a time where I felt pretty too. Glad my parents didn't jump to any rash conclusions. Well said. So that's the reason he has been dumped. And look, he probably shouldn't participate with this weirdo cult out in San Francisco, right? I mean, I don't think anybody should. I think, look, let me stop before I get banned. But the point is, this is what they are deeming hateful. So it doesn't matter what you do. They will find a reason to stop you. They will find a reason to hate you. Like we know now that the Juwanna Mann 2 movie is apparently in the works. We'll see if it actually comes out. But the star of the movie, I forget his name, Nunez or something, he said, no, we worked really hard to make sure, or we're working really hard to make sure that it's not offensive. But he's completely lost on the fact that it is their job to be offended. It is their job to stop you from producing something. It is their job to control your thoughts. It is their job to make you comply and capitulate. So they're going to find a reason, because this, from where I'm sitting, is not offensive. It's not bigoted. It's not hateful. It's not phobic, ist, or ism. But they just want to stop you from having an idea, having a thought that may go against their weirdo agenda. So thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, and of course, subscribe.